What's happening, Achievers? Ajit Sidhu here from Invincible Achievers. I want to tell you a story. Something I remembered, it happened years back. Me and my friend, we decided to go out for a coffee, and we parked up in a car park. And as we got out, we paid for the ticket, displayed it. We started walking down the stairs. And as we were going down the stairs, we were thinking about our lives and just talking about our lives and where we want to go. We hadn't done anything with our life that was hugely successful. It was just starting off in the process. And to be honest, my friend was actually struggling in life. He had just recovered from a horrible flu. It was winter at that time, so we were all had our scarves on and our hats. And we were walking, and he, as one does, once you recover, you start getting your energy back. He said to me, Ajit, where do you start off with this success and progression and trying to achieve something? Where do you start off? Sometimes it becomes so overwhelming, all this information. And I looked at him, I smiled, I said, well, let's just get to the coffee shop and let's talk about it. And as I was walking, I realized I didn't know the answer to this. So whilst we were walking down the spiral steps and we opened the door, we could see the Starbucks right in front of us. I was going through the process. I was thinking, how can I help my friend go through this? So we stood at Starbucks, got our coffees, found a table. It was jam-packed because when it's winter, everyone wants to have a coffee. We found a table, we sat down, and we took a sip of the coffee. Actually, it wasn't even like that. It was a sip of the coffee. And I said, okay, ask me the question again. And he said, where do you start off in this whole progression, this whole achieving to gain something? Where do you start off? And we had our notebooks because we used to sit there. We used to meet up and discuss ideas. So I told him, okay, pull out your journal. And I pulled out my journal. I said, let's go through this process. And we took another sip of our coffee. As we took the sip of the coffee, we could feel the caffeine going into our body, our heart starting to race, my brain started to activate finally in the day. And I said, okay, where we need to start off is we can't compare ourselves with others. Because when we start comparing ourselves with others, we start feeling overwhelmed. We start seeing other people achieving. We start seeing people having an amazing life. And if we try to compare ourselves with them, then we are setting ourselves up for failure because we do not know how much of a struggle they have been on, how long they've been doing it, what team they've got behind them, how much knowledge they've got. What we need to do is see how they've done it. And that's where we need to start off. We started writing this down. So we wrote down, do not compare ourselves with others. And I told my friend a story about Michael Jordan that I'd heard. I said, Michael Jordan, he used to come back from school. He used to play every single day, taking shot after shot. His dad used to help him. He was very young at that time. His dad would help him. And when it used to get dark, his dad installed lights so he can carry on training. And when Michael Jordan got to college stage, his coach cut him from the team. So he said, you do not have the attitude to become great. You are very good, skillful, but you do not have that winning attitude. And Michael Jordan says, what do you mean? I'm better than everyone over here. Look at all these people. I beat them. I can beat them. I can beat everyone, even every single school that I've actually gone against. Every single every single one of those, I beat them. And the coach said, go home, you're cut. But the coach gave him one chance. He said, if you come here every single morning, even on Saturdays and Sundays, at 4 o'clock and train for 3 hours with me for 4, 5, 6, 7, until 7 o'clock, and then you can go, then maybe I'll give you a chance next year. So Michael Jordan on the bus train back home was crying, like almost in tears. Maybe he was even crying, but then he decided, you know what, I'll give it a shot. And he did it. He did it every single day. And when he became the champ, he had achieved the best basketball player in the world. They interviewed him and they said to him, what made the biggest difference? And Michael Jordan said, it was the fact that before I got cut, I was competing against every single person. I was saying, I'm better than that person, I'm better than that person, I'm better than that person, I'm the best. But at 4 o'clock in the morning, no one's around. And when no one's around, I've only got myself to compete against. So I got to compete against myself. What I did yesterday, I got to improve today. What I do today, I need to do better tomorrow. And that is how Michael Jordan became great. And my friend wrote this down, and I also wrote this down in my journal. And then we took another sip of the coffee, and we could feel our heart starting to race even more. And once I start feeling my mind start opening up even more, and I start getting this information, and I start speaking faster as well. And this is the best place where I always call it. It's a brain dump. Everything just starts coming through, and I said, okay, to my friend, let's start writing this down. Okay, so now we do not compare ourselves with others, but what we need to do is we need to start off with the end. And my friend said, what do you mean start off with the end? I said, start off with the end first. So we got to see where we want to go. We need to have a target. So we need to find out who's done it and mirror them. I said, this is something I learned from Tony Robbins, from Unleash the Power Within. He mentioned about mirroring and modeling success. Find someone who's done it and find out how they've done it and step backwards. And a quote from Tony Robbins I mentioned to him, and we wrote this down, was, you can gain decades of knowledge within days just by mirroring somebody. And so we start writing this down. At that point, we start figuring out what we want to do, where we are. So, but I'm jumping ahead there. And so once we wrote that down, I said, okay, he said, but okay, so how do you do the step-by-step backwards? I said, reverse engineer. I said, anything in life, we always have to reverse engineer it. Step by step. We need to find out who's done it, who's the successful person, the last person, and then figure out step by step what they did, how they done it, and work our way back to us. It's almost like the example of a recipe book. If you get a recipe book, you have the actual instructions of how to make food. But when you want to create that has actually been created by somebody who's already done it. That person has actually done it in the kitchen, they made it, but where did they learn it from? They learned it from someone else. And they learned it from somewhere else, they did it, they thought it's great, they put it in a book, from that book, you're doing it. And that's kind of almost reverse engineered to making a successful food. We need to do that. We need to find out who's done what we've done and reverse engineer it, work our way backwards. And that reverse engineering process, the mirroring, has worked in lots of areas in our life. So me and my friend, we wrote this down, and then we said, okay, now by doing that step, okay, so now what we've done is we're not comparing ourselves with other people now. We're starting off with the end and reverse engineering it step by step. But once we've done that, my friend said, what do we do after that? And I thought, and I still felt my heart racing because of the caffeine. And I thought, you know what? I need to have another sip of my coffee. And I sipped it. At that time, it was the time when I used to drink coffee. I don't drink it anymore. And I sipped it. And then I felt the caffeine flowing through my body again. And I said, you know what? I said, we need to know ourselves. When you reverse engineer, where do you come back? It all comes back to you, no matter what you're reverse engineering, no matter who you're modeling, no matter who you're watching, no matter what visions that you have, it all comes back to ourselves. So we need to know ourselves. And my friend said, that's amazing, that's really good. He said, oh, in the Bible it says, know thyself. And I said, yeah, well, there you go. So let's know thyself. So we wrote that down. And he said, okay, so how do we expand upon that? I said, well, knowing ourselves, we need to know our priorities at this moment of time. How much time do we have? How much time we can have? What we can get rid of? And once we've done that, that's how we can actually create an actual version of ourselves. Almost like building a clay model of how much time do we have? What's our priorities? What's our knowledge? where have we been, our experiences. And once we built this clay model of ourselves, we've got it here. We've actually built the arms and the legs of our experience of what we are right now. He said, that's great, but then where do we go? I said, once we've got that, we need to have a target. When we are doing bow and arrow archery, you always have the arrow and you have your bow, and you just don't just shoot anywhere. You have a target. I said, we need to have a target. My friend said, that's cool, but what's the target? And I said, the target is who we want to become. And he said, that's so profound. And he wrote that down. And I said, and I thought to myself, that's pretty cool. I just came up with that from my mind here. So we need to become the person that we want to become. So we've got a model of ourselves here. Then we need to create a model of who we want to actually become. What do we want to do in our life? What experiences do we want? How much health we want, how much muscles we want, how much tonnage we want. So we build this second model. So now we've got two models, one of us, one of what we want to become. This is us right now. This is our target. This is where we want to go. So my friend said, okay, let's just quickly recap. So we've got this and we're drinking our coffees here and we're almost finished. Caffeine flowing through our body, heart racing, sweat pouring off our heads whilst we're writing this, and people walking around, and you've got to remember it's freezing cold outside. And we said, okay, so we do not compare ourselves with others at all. We have to just compete against ourselves. We start off with the end by mirroring, finding someone who's actually become successful and mirror. But the way we're going to mirror is by reverse engineering, figuring out exactly how they've done it and coming back to ourselves. Once we come back to ourselves, we need to create a second model of a second version of us, of who we want to become. And now we know what we want to do. And then my friend said, that's great, but how do we do it? And I thought, isn't this the process, the way to do it? I said, no. He said to me, he said, no. This is almost the gameplay, the plan. But how do we actually do this? Where do we start? I said to my friend, what are you passionate about? What do you enjoy? What do you like? And he started thinking, and I said, I enjoy martial arts. I enjoy health. I enjoy exercising. This is my passion. I enjoy reading about it. I enjoy geeking out about it. But I enjoy reading about how to do an exercise, implementing the exercise, and seeing results immediately. And not only that, feeling the endorphins that are pouring out of my body. I said, what are you passionate about? And so we wrote down the passions. We need to figure out what we're passionate about. Once we know what we're passionate about right now, that becomes our fuel to the fire. That all of a sudden becomes the steering wheel to our vehicle, because that is what's going to get us there. When life becomes tough, when obstacles come about, when we have perceived failure, the thing that's going to keep us going is our passion. And so his passion was something completely different. My passion was the gym. So I wrote down exercising. It doesn't matter what type of exercise it is, but martial arts. From the exercising gym, I realized that before that is martial arts. I would give up weights before I give up martial arts. And martial arts was the actual core of me. And we wrote that down. And from there, we realized that, okay, so now we've got do not compare ourselves. We start off with the end by mirroring and modeling, reverse engineer. We have to know ourselves, build two models. We have to have a passion, which is basically the steering wheel. We've almost built the entire car here. But then my friend said, and this was him who said this, and it's so profound, it's so true. He said, but everything, it boils down to health. He had just recovered from a flu, and he said, and this is the reason why he asked that question. He said, when I was ill, when I was bunged up, I was lying in bed. It wasn't even a cold. It was a flu. It's probably a man flu. And he said, I couldn't even get out of bed. So I couldn't do any of this, and I wouldn't be able to do it. I said, that's so true. So health is the most important. And at that time, it was all about drinking the protein shakes and less carbs, the Atkins diet, which is completely out now because it's very unhealthy. If I could go back, I would have said to him, alkaline diet. That's the best diet to be on. It's not even a diet, it's a lifestyle. Alkalizing your body. And I would have said to him, alkalizing your body is all about having the greens, having the green drink, having the salads. You can carry on having chicken and food and other foods which are acidic, but you need to have more of the greens to neutralize it, 4 times amount of alkaline than acid, because when you have the acid, that's what clogs you up. Your body, every single time you're phlegming out or you're ill, it's your body saying, I don't want this in my body, get out of here. And it's flinging it out with coughs and all the phlegm that's coming out. That's acid. But not only that, the fat that we hold, that is containers, storage containers for the acid that's in our body that we take in. When we have acidic food, too acidic, or even stressing out, because stress releases a lot of acid, or emotions, negative emotions, releases acid. The body says, I can't have this acid in me. It's going to burn a hole in me. And the only thing that's strong enough to hold this acid that's flowing is the fat cell. So they shove it in the fat cell. Boom, that's locked. Oh, here comes more. Produce more fat. Boom. Shove it in the fat. Boom. And then the fat continues. Alkalizing, once you're pouring the alkaline food in, the body says, whoa, 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 get rid of this acid. There's so much alkaline here. Open the storage containers, fling it out. Oh, we got storage containers here, empty ones. Get rid of it, whoosh, flush it out. And all of a sudden you start losing the excess fat immediately. And I saw the results after working out, trying to lose the last bit of fat for 15 years. And when I went on this process of eating greens, what I wanted to achieve, that took me 15 years. It took me 3 months, and it just went. And that's where we wrote down health. From that, we finished our cup of coffee, we put it down, we looked over our notes. It said, do not compare ourselves with others. Start off with the end first by finding someone, mirroring and matching. Reverse engineer it step by step. Create the model that you are now. Know thyself. Know where you want to go. Have a target. So build what you want to become. So you can even use vision boards for that. You can use affirmations, proximity. I've spoken about that previously. Then you create, from creating two versions, you have to know your passions, because that's going to be the fuel. You don't have to take the passion and build a business around it, or build anything or do something about your passion. You can do, because that's the best. But like myself, at this moment in time, I'm a director of nurseries, but my passion is martial arts. And I still do this every single day, never taking a break. Never taking a break. I know that's against gym regulations saying you should take a break, but I'm not doing it to transform my body. I'm doing it for energy, and that's just a passion of it. So I don't take a break, but that's something that if your reading is your passion, then you read every single day. You don't take a break. You do it every single day. And you realize that whatever you are passionate about, you do it every day, even if you're just lying there thinking about it. From there, we closed our books, walked out, and we realized that we had the game plan, this game plan of life. And from there, he went on to become very successful in life, helping so many people. And all the money he was making, he was putting it back, giving charities. And you know, it was just from that step-by-step process. So I hope that helped, guys. I hope that story helped. Keep adding value to people's lives. Keep spreading the love. And just remember, we are one idea away from changing the future. Take care, guys. Bye.